Welcome back to another Wind Down Wednesday with your girl Soulz Journey. Today, I am sitting here having this on the porch conversation with this beautiful black man, Rasheeb Shabazz. How you doing?
I am doing very well. I'm doing
Awesome.
great. I can't complain.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time to come talk to me. I really appreciate that.
Oh, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Yes, we have to honor our black men. So I would be remiss if I did not invite you on the show to talk about your journey just a little bit.
Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Yes. So introduce yourself to the people.
Okay, well, my name is Rasheeb Shabazz. I'm from out of Connecticut, born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut. Shout out to all my peoples from Hartford and all over. Woo, yeah, and yeah, a little bit about myself. I'm a mental health worker. Work for the state of Connecticut. Also, I'm what you call a fitness coach. I'm into one of my main things is coaching wrestling. I love coaching wrestling, and I work with people in fitness and conditioning, strength and conditioning, getting their minds and body right. Children, adults, everyone is all ages doing from rehabilitation and all those kind of things. Yes.
Awesome. I love that for you. I really do.
Right.
So
Yeah.
so what actually got you into that?
Um,
Into fitness. We'll start there.
okay. Yeah, well, I guess as a kid, I always love, I guess coming up, loving Channel 5 martial arts, watching that, always wanted to do that. Then in high school, I got into wrestling. I think coming up as a kid, my brothers, we was always competitive. Being very competitive, the neighborhood I grew up in, everybody's competitive. Whether it's outside playing street ball, you know, um, whether the cars coming by, we yell out, say, "Hey, cars!" You know what I mean? Catching the ball, running all the way down to the telephone pole. So yeah, so I always been competitive. I always been an athlete coming up. Yeah.
Nice. So what about the mental health part of it? Now, what really got you into mental health?
All right, so mental health, I got into that, believe it or not, I started with addictions, and the addiction field, dealing with recovery and an addiction. One of the things that got me into it, believe it or not, was that I did have a brother who was an addict, and I saw the struggles that he also went through dealing with addictions and the relapse, being clean, and then relapse, stealing, saying he's going to show up and never show up, never committed to anything, and then eventually, unfortunately, that tragic day when he died of HIV. Yeah.
Oh
And
wow.
so that also kind of led me wanting to always help people and kind of be that big brother, especially to the men who didn't have that support. I'm always that little brother who would support my brother who didn't want him. So to go through that tragic, doing drugs or, owing the dealers money and stuff. So yeah.
Oh wow.
So my pathway somehow through just working in the human service field, whether it's working with young adults, working with kids, I ended up getting into the mental health field. So
Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss.
yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
and I also commend you on your willingness and eagerness to want to help people, even though you have experienced that traumatic loss and like going
Yes.
through that journey.
Yes.
How do you use those tools that you learn from being around your brother and that experience with your brother? How do you use those tools for what you do now?
One of the things I use that too is that you have to show that you care. You have to show that you care. I always reminded my brother that I cared about him. I loved him. And I didn't want to, I was more nervous for him than he was for himself. When he did live with us and everything, and just you know, so for me it's just caring. Caring for him and being that support. Sometimes you'll have other family members who know that he's an addict or whatever and put him down. I still have to try and build him up. So I take that same tool and apply that into when I'm working with, my clients are working in the field to show them that, you know what, I care. Somebody care for you. You know what I mean? It's not all about just the money and getting paid, but, you know, coming to work and putting that passion into what you do, you know?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's heartfelt. I appreciate that. Yeah, that's heartfelt. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I also wanted to know, so what keeps you level? What keeps you balanced in working in this field? Because you do have to have compassion, just like you say, caring. So what keeps you balanced?
I would say what keeps me balanced would be my faith in God. That's most important to the Most High. So God be the glory. When I go in, I always think about what Jesus said. I'm here to serve. I'm here to serve, not be served. So every time when I step in, I think about that before I walk into the building. I say my prayers. I'm here to serve, not be served. It's not about me. It's about them. And also being served, also not only being about the clients that I work with, but also my coworkers. Because sometimes you might have some difficult coworkers, and once again, it's not about you. It's about serving everybody who's there. Yeah. So you have to put yourself in a mindset. You know what I mean? Whether it's 8 hours, you just set that clock in your head. This is what I'm going in there. I'm going to be served, but God, I know you got me. And that's usually my mindset, how I go in and to, do my work.
Yeah, being a servant. That's amazing. So tell me a little bit about your spirituality. How did you come up with that mindset? Because that's not an overnight thing.
No, I think, of course, it was started during my childhood. You know, me and my parents, of course, they was faith-based. They was believers. They was Pentecostal. And just having that faith as a child. And even to the point where I questioned certain things, but just having that ground faith and just finding things out myself and then going into spirituality. And then at one point coming to Islam, practicing Muslim. And then just questioning and converting back to, a believer in Christ. But it started young. It started young, and it started just, putting God putting him to the test within my own personal life through my own personal struggles and journey. So once I start testing God, far as that I can trust God, that God will deliver me and hold me through. That's what keeps me through everything I do.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Listen, if you could go back to your younger self, what advice would you give the young Rasheeb?
Wow, that's a good question. I would tell the young Rasheeb to listen and just be confident of who you are as a black man, and walk with your head up. No matter what stones are thrown at you, keep walking and just repel everything that come at you, and not be sensitive to nothing at all. Yeah.
Wow. Now, what if you had only one word to describe yourself? What would that one word be?
Passionate.
I can see that.
Passionate.
Yeah.
Yeah, passionate it can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. With being passionate, it's hard for you to do anything half-assed. You either all in or not at all. And when you're passionate, you don't like to lose. You don't like failure. You're more sensitive because you pouring all your heart into it. So sometimes you have to learn how to take criticism, because your passion, and somehow you got to be careful that your passion is not just you just trying to be a pleaser, whether it's to yourself or other people. And you also have to be passionate. You also have to learn to have thick skin as well too, because everybody ain't gonna like what your thoughts are or how driven you are. So all of those come. There's a blessing and curse in being passionate. Yeah.
What's next for you?
Oh, what's next for me? I'm always competing with myself. is outdo whatever I did last year, last week, yesterday. Just keep elevating. Just keep elevating in my field, in my craft, expanding better ways how to serve people, in my fitness, in my personal life, in my faith base. Just being elevating, just being the best me I could possibly be. I compete with the guy in the mirror every day. There's some days that the guy I look in the mirror outdid me today. But then I'm like, listen, you gotta. I like to write a little, put a stick on the wall. Rasheeb, stop bullshit.
Right.
When I
Get
see
it
that
together.
to myself, I'm like, yo, let's kick it in gear. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you do. So what would be a daily routine for you? Like, so you do affirmations?
Well, here's affirmations. I love affirmations. I used to do affirmations coming up when I was in the martial arts. I believe in affirmation. I love affirmation. Those are great. But my daily routine starts off, a lot of times I wake up, I'm laying in the bed, and I'll play something. I think the first thing I want to put on is something spiritual, godly, or something positive or motivating. So I will play that for about 10 minutes before I get out of bed. Get up, the first thing, God gets all the glory first. Then after that, I got to make my coffee, and then I love to read.
Yes.
I like my 2 cups of coffee. Once my 2 cups of coffee is done, my reading is over. I'm ready to start the day. Yeah. That's my daily morning ritual is like. Yeah.
Got you. That's
Yes,
good stuff. Good stuff. Listen, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, number one, debt free. That's my ultimate goal. I want to be debt free. I don't want to
Teach the class. Teach the class, man. Teach the class, okay?
I don't know how it's gonna happen, but you know what?
But it's gonna happen.
But it's gonna happen. And I like to see myself married. Definitely, and I like to see myself also. Hopefully, my kids will have some grandkids. You know what I mean? I look forward for the next generation.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
That legacy.
Yes. I'm planting seeds for the next generation to come. So
absolutely. And so
Yeah.
you're a single father. Tell your audience about being a single father.
Oh man, being a single father, it's a blessing at the same time, and it's tough at the same time. I think being a single father as a black man, a lot of times we don't get recognized. We're behind the scenes. We'll never try to outdo the single mom, especially the single black mom, and we just try to coexist. And do what we can for our children. Sometimes it's tough because we're wired a little bit different. Men, we're wired to be protectors, providers. We lack certain details that mothers have, like paying attention to the room need to get clean and checking the homework and all that stuff like that, and following up on the
Sometimes we don't do that either. Okay, sometimes we don't get it twisted. Sometimes we don't do that either. So don't feel bad.
Yeah. But I think for us, for me, it's about my sons having order, structure, and like I the best way I can say it like this with my boys, I don't have daughters, and I wish I at least had at least one. But I raise them. If I had a daughter, what kind of man would I want for my daughter? So I'm raising these sons of mine to be a good husband for somebody's daughter. Yeah. So in other words, like you gonna get ready for my daughter-in-law, and you gonna get ready for that woman that you gonna have a family with. Trying to keep that traditional aspect of biblical marriage stuff going on. That works.
And that's good for you because you came from a 2-parent home. So
Yes.
you definitely got a chance to see, love on both ends. You got a chance to see that balance, the yin and the yang, so So how do you feel that has impacted your parenting style?
Um, yeah, it has. It has because I think being that we are more educated in some aspect where we understand. And I guess for me, being in the field where you study behaviors and everything, there's a lot of foundation that our parents did before, like that structure, that say your prayers, brush your teeth, you go to church. Those are valuable foundation that are very important.
Absolutely.
But I do understand that parents of that time, my only issue is that a lot of times it was quiet. Do this because I said so. You know what I mean? Versus the kids of the day needs a little bit more explanation. You need to kind of like sit down and talk with them and explain why we need to do this, why this is important. You know what I mean? Because they're a little softer now.
And also giving them a voice somewhat.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And that goes with the explanation or explaining to them, why certain things are done and things of that nature. Allowing them a little bit more creativity as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So, is there anything that you want your audience to know about you?
I'm just I'm just a man just trying to I guess as a black man in this world, raising young black men, I just wanted to let just let people know that men of the day, especially black men, we're struggling, and we're struggling in a way where we need to come together. We need to hold each other accountable. We need to just like bond more together and hold each other accountable to be better men. You know what I mean, for our community. I think it part of it is it starts with us. You know what I mean, and it starts with me with my little ones. It starts with maybe the kid next door who don't have a father. You know what I mean, and he's hanging out with my sons and everything, and I'm bringing them along and everything, or mentoring him. It's bringing that village. So yeah.
Do you think we lost that along the way, the village mentality?
I think we have in some aspect. We have been we're different, man. We're different in a way where we you can be around neighbors and they'll be living around each other for years and never talk to each other. Yeah,
absolutely.
I remember the time like your neighbor, if your parents wasn't there, and they're like, "Hey, you better stop that. I'm gonna tell your dad. I'm gonna tell your mom."
Yes.
You know you're not supposed to do that. You know what I mean? We hold each other, the other kids accountable.
Absolutely.
Now you say something to somebody else's kid. Now that other parent is ready to fight the other parent for, don't you talk to my kid and everything.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then it's sad that the children today, they don't have respect for adults. You know what I mean? And that starts in the home. You know, so yeah. Yeah, so we got to go back to being a village, man. I think that was, that unity. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it starts with us. So
it starts with us.
Thank you for bringing that up. Thank you for allowing me to help you to share or invite you.
Oh, thank you.
Invite you to share your experiences. I really appreciate that. Yeah. And I commend you as a single father. I commend you as a black man. I am so proud of you. Continue to do what you do.
Yes,
okay?
Yes indeed.
Yes,
indeed.
We need you. We need you out here. So
thank you.
I love you much.
And
thank you.
Love you too. Yep.
Thank
all right,
you so much for coming on, talking to us.
Okay.
Is there anything any last thing you want to say to your people?
Just keep God first. Find happiness and let's spread love, y'all.
Awesome. You have been tuned in to Wind Down Wednesday with your girl, Soulz Journey, and my guy, Rasheeb Shabazz. Thank you for tuning in to K87, The Nation, baby.